The interstellar port of Zyphera Prime stretched across the horizon like a giant crystal city. Ships of every imaginable shape and size floated lazily above the docking platforms, shimmering under the pale sun. Some were sleek and silver, moving with the grace of liquid metal. Others were massive, adorned with glowing crystals and armor that gleamed in rainbow colors. Every race in the galaxy had sent their pride to show off here, each vessel designed to intimidate, impress, or simply boast superiority. Amid this grand display, a small, nondescript ship drifted into view. Its hull was scratched, dented in places, and the paint was faded from centuries of use. The engines hummed with a modest, uneven tone, and thin trails of smoke curled behind it. It looked ordinary, almost pathetic, compared to the other ships that seemed to float effortlessly like living beings. A crowd had gathered on the observation platforms. Aliens of all shapes leaned forward, craned their eyes, and whispered. "Look at that," a tall insectoid being hissed, its 6 arms waving in disbelief. "Do they call that a ship?" The humanoid ambassador from Krylox Prime laughed, a deep, echoing sound. "A human ship? Pathetic. I bet it can't even leave the atmosphere without breaking down." The human crew, standing on the small deck of the ship, ignored the comments. Captain Elias Kane, a man with a square jaw and calm, intelligent eyes, held his hands behind his back. His crew mirrored his composure, though a few younger humans tightened their grips on their tools, their nerves alive with tension. They had faced mockery before, but never on a stage like this, with the galaxy watching. The ship's AI, Arden, softly spoke inside the captain's interface. Sensors indicate widespread ridicule, emotional responses in humanoid and non-humanoid observers above 95%. Elias smiled faintly. "Let them laugh, Arden. They have no idea." A small, purple-skinned alien floated closer to the human ship. Its eyes glowed as it scanned the hull. "I've never seen a vessel so primitive. How do you even survive in space with that?" it asked, voice dripping with mockery. The human engineer, Lyra Vance, stepped forward. Her dark hair was pulled back tightly, and her hands rested confidently on her tool belt. "We survive just fine," she said simply, her tone calm but firm. "And sometimes survival looks nothing like what you expect." The aliens laughed more loudly this time. Some even began recording, certain that this would be a spectacle to share across the galaxy. Others pointed, making sharp, clicking noises of amusement. Elias Kane said nothing. He allowed the laughter to continue, studying every detail of the other ships, every movement of the alien observers. It was then that Viola, a scientist from the far-off world of Turaxa, floated closer, curiosity sparking in her bright green eyes. Unlike the others, she did not mock. Her gaze traced the lines and scratches along the ship's hull. There were symbols etched into the metal, faded but unmistakable. She frowned. "What is this?" she whispered to herself. The humans noticed nothing unusual. They were too accustomed to their vessel. But Arden's sensors were alive with curiosity. "Captain," it said softly, "the hull material is unlike anything in current galactic records. It is old, very old." Elias' eyes narrowed, though he showed no surprise. "I know," he said quietly. "This ship has a history they cannot imagine." Meanwhile, the aliens' amusement reached a peak. Some began pointing and shouting over each other. "It can't even match the speed of a standard scouting cruiser," one screeched. "Look at that engine, it's from centuries ago. Maybe it's a museum piece," another suggested, clearly mocking. The humans prepared for docking, the small ship shivering slightly as its engines adjusted. Other ships zoomed around them, sleek and agile, creating dazzling displays of speed and power. The human vessel appeared sluggish, its movements deliberate rather than flashy. A small crowd of aliens hovered around, craning their eyes. "Do they even have weapons?" a young observer asked. "Or is this just a floating relic?" Captain Kane turned slowly, addressing the crew through a soft command. "Let them watch. Let them see what they think is weakness. Patience, discipline, precision, these are our true strengths. As the humans docked, a sudden test of scanning systems occurred. The alien fleet's sensors attempted to map the human vessel. One by one, their instruments flickered, glitched, and failed. It was subtle at first, almost imperceptible, but the alien engineers noticed. "What's happening?" a technician shouted. "Our scans, they won't read the ship properly." The aliens' laughter turned into confusion. Some floated closer, their curiosity overcoming ridicule. "It's impossible," muttered one of the Krylok scientists. "These readings, they don't match anything we know." Viola's eyes widened. The symbols on the ship's hull were no longer just decorative, they were part of a system. She floated closer, scanning the etchings with her instruments. This is older than anything recorded. Centuries older, perhaps even a millennium." The aliens around her froze. A hum of tension replaced the earlier laughter. They whispered among themselves, incredulous. How could humans, whom they had thought primitive, possess a ship so ancient and still functioning? Meanwhile, the humans quietly unloaded supplies and prepared for the upcoming ceremonial display. Lyra Vance adjusted a panel on the ship, her hands steady. "Arden," she said, "run diagnostics again. Make sure everything is ready." The AI responded with its usual calm tone. "All systems functioning. Historical integrity of hull remains intact. Sensors indicate no current vulnerabilities. Recommendation: maintain current low-profile presentation." Elias nodded. "Exactly. Let them underestimate us. Let them mock. The true test will come soon." The aliens continued their jabs, unaware of the subtle power hidden in the ship's aged exterior. Some floated close to touch the hull, marveling at its solid, resilient metal. Others murmured about the strange symbols, debating what they could mean. A sudden announcement echoed through the port. "All ships prepare for the demonstration race. This is the final test of performance and agility. Participants, align at the starting coordinates." The human crew activated their engines. The ship responded smoothly, almost like it had a life of its own. It did not shine like the newer ships, nor did it roar with power, but it moved with quiet confidence, precise and reliable. The alien spectators whispered. Some laughed again, confident that the human vessel would fail miserably. "Watch," one said, "they'll barely make the first checkpoint." Viola, however, remained silent. Her gaze lingered on the hull, her mind racing. "This ship, it's not what it seems," she murmured. The human crew lined up for the demonstration. Captain Kane's calm presence radiated confidence. He adjusted his posture, looking ahead at the course. "Remember," he said softly to his team, "they see weakness, but we will show strength in ways they cannot predict." The other ships zoomed ahead, their engines blazing, leaving trails of energy in brilliant arcs. The human ship waited, seemingly hesitant, as if acknowledging its old age. The crowd laughed once more, but within the ship, hidden systems began to hum quietly. Ardent sensors adjusted in anticipation. The hull vibrated ever so slightly, and subtle energy fields activated along the ship's frame. The humans were ready. The mockery continued, oblivious to the truth lying dormant in that 1,000-year-old vessel. The aliens laughed, confident that humanity had nothing to offer. Yet the first hints of the ship's hidden capabilities began to shimmer faintly, unnoticed. And Captain Kane smiled, knowing the galaxy was about to discover a truth no one expected. Age does not equal weakness. Humanity had survived, adapted, and thrived. The ship carried not just humans, but the legacy of a species underestimated for centuries. The race had not yet begun, but already, the first cracks in the aliens' arrogance were forming. Humanity's story, quiet and unassuming, was about to unfold, and the galaxy would never forget it. The demonstration race had begun, and the port of Sci-Fi Prime buzzed with excitement. Ships of all shapes darted across the starting lanes, engines blazing, energy trails painting the sky in brilliant streaks. Spectators cheered, floated above the platforms, or hovered beside the observation windows, eager to see who would dominate. The human ship, small and battered-looking compared to the alien vessels, floated at the back of the formation. Its engines emitted a soft hum, almost humble, as if it knew its true power did not require flashy displays. The crowd laughed again, pointing fingers and shaking heads. "Look at them," one alien yelled, its voice high-pitched and trembling with amusement. "They're still in last place." "Pathetic," another screeched. "How do humans survive space travel with that ancient scrap?" Captain Elias Kane stood at the helm, hands resting lightly on the controls. He ignored the taunts, observing every movement of the other ships. Lyra Vance adjusted a small panel on the console, checking minor calibrations. Arden, the AI, monitored every detail. "Captain," Arden's voice spoke softly inside his interface, "the alien vessels have superior speed and maneuverability. If the humans attempt standard racing protocols, they will fall behind within the first 200 meters. "I know, Arden," Elias replied quietly. "That is why we will not follow their protocol. Watch carefully and trust the ship." The human vessel did not surge forward immediately. It drifted slowly, almost lazily, as the others zoomed ahead, creating brilliant arcs of light. The aliens' laughter rose once more. "They'll never make it," someone shouted. But Viola, the Taraxian scientist, studied the humans with more curiosity than amusement. She floated closer to the observation platform, eyes glued to the hull. The ship's movements were deliberate, measured. Not clumsy, measured. Something was different about it. The first challenge appeared, a narrow tunnel of floating energy gates, twisting and turning in a complex pattern. Alien ships adjusted their paths with precision, zipping through effortlessly. The human ship approached slowly, aligning itself with quiet confidence. Then, as if responding to an unspoken command, the vessel's engines surged, its frame twisting and bending with impossible agility. The ship flowed through the gates, banking sharply, leaving the aliens struggling to catch up. A murmur of shock spread through the crowd. "Impossible," one Krylox officer whispered. "How?" Viola's eyes widened. She scanned the hull remotely. "The material, it's responding to the pilot's intent. And these symbols, they're not decorative, they're adaptive." The aliens, who had mocked humanity moments ago, began whispering nervously. The human crew moved as a single unit, each action precise, their ship almost alive in its responsiveness. Arden sensors adjusted dynamically, predicting the energy fields and using subtle bursts of propulsion to glide perfectly. The aliens had expected clumsy survival. Instead, they were witnessing controlled mastery. Captain Kane spoke quietly to his team. "Now, Lyra, engage the secondary thrusters." The engineers activated hidden systems buried within the ancient ship. Faint energy trails began to shimmer along the hull, invisible to casual observation. The ship's small engine roared softly, not with volume but with strength. It surged forward, overtaking several alien vessels in a fluid, astonishing maneuver. Spectators gasped. Some alien pilots swerved sharply to avoid collisions, panic flickering in their eyes. Viola's scanner detected something remarkable. The technology, this ship is at least 1,000 years old. Some systems are centuries ahead of what we thought humans ever developed. The aliens began murmuring in confusion. Their instruments had failed to read the ship properly earlier, and now the human vessel was outperforming their supposedly superior designs. "Surely it's just luck," one officer muttered, but the tremor in their voice betrayed doubt. The human ship approached the next section of the race, a dense asteroid field. Rocks and debris floated unpredictably, threatening to shred any vessel that miscalculated. Alien pilots relied on standard navigation software, often overcorrecting and colliding with minor asteroids. The humans, however, moved differently. Arden predicted each asteroid's trajectory in real time, while the ship's adaptive hull subtly adjusted shape to reduce impact risk. It weaved between asteroids with surgical precision, engines barely straining, as if the rocks themselves parted in respect. Did they just pass through without touching a single rock? An alien gasped. Captain Kane's eyes narrowed, though he kept a calm exterior. Focus, team. Observation is not enough. Prepare for the final challenge. The final challenge was a long, twisting tunnel of ionized plasma, glowing dangerously red. Aliens relied on speed and brute force to push through it. The humans slowed slightly, almost imperceptibly, calculating the exact trajectory. Then, with a burst of synchronized movement, the ship surged through the plasma without even losing altitude. Heat shields flared subtly, absorbing the energy in a way alien ships could not replicate. The audience erupted. Aliens stared, dumbfounded. Viola floated closer, unable to contain her curiosity. This ship, it shouldn't be able to do this. It's ancient, and yet it outperforms everything here. Human engineering, it's beyond modern understanding. The human crew, for their part, remained calm. They had expected this reaction. Captain Kane knew the moment would come when the galaxy realized humans were underestimated. And that moment was now. An alien commentator floated above, his voice trembling. I cannot believe what I am seeing. The human vessel, it defies everything we know. The aliens began whispering frantically among themselves. Some sent remote scans again, only to find their instruments failing or giving inconsistent readings. One alien pilot shook their head in disbelief. It's impossible. These humans, they've hidden something. Elias Kane glanced at Lyra. They're noticing now, he said quietly. Patience. Let them realize gradually. Viola, meanwhile, activated her own instruments and carefully documented the hull symbols. Her curiosity outweighed her fear of alien authority. She discovered a pattern of adaptive circuitry buried within the metal, responding in real time to the pilot's decisions. Some symbols, ancient and worn, were still functional, channeling energy precisely where needed. This ship, she whispered to herself, eyes wide, it's not just surviving, it's evolving with the pilot. The aliens, realizing they could not comprehend or replicate the ship, began arguing among themselves. We must study it, one screeched. It's cheating. There's no way humans built that. Cheating, Viola said under her breath. No, this is history. This ship, it's ancient, older than any records we have. Humanity built it centuries ago and it still works. The crowd was split between amazement and disbelief. The humans, small and quiet, had become the center of attention, not through size or flashy displays, but through precision, intelligence, and subtle superiority. As the race ended, the human ship crossed the final line last among the visible ships, yet technically first in terms of efficiency and accuracy. Alien officials scowled, unable to deny the result. Spectators whispered in awe, and Viola's eyes sparkled with a mixture of curiosity and admiration. Captain Kane deactivated the active systems, letting the ship drift gently in the docking area. "Well done, team," he said, a hint of pride in his calm tone. "They are beginning to see us. That is the first step." Lyra exhaled, smiling faintly. "It's strange. They mocked us, laughed at our ship, and now they're unsure whether to fear or respect us." Elias nodded. "That's the point. They will underestimate us again and again. But each time, they will learn a little more. Our strength is not in the hull alone, but in our discipline, intelligence, and patience." Viola, hovering closer for a final look, reached out to touch the hull remotely with her instruments. "I need to know, how did humans build this, and why has it survived so long?" Elias Kane's eyes met hers through the observation window. He smiled faintly. "Curiosity is a good trait, Viola, but know this: humanity's legacy is more than machines. It is our ability to endure, adapt, and survive. This ship is only a beginning." The aliens' mockery had faded, replaced by whispers of confusion and growing respect. Somewhere deep in the port, a council of alien leaders debated how to approach humanity. Meanwhile, the humans quietly prepared for their next mission, their ancient ship ready to face whatever challenges the galaxy would throw at them. And somewhere in Arden's systems, faint pulses of energy traced the ancient symbols, waiting, watching, and ready to reveal the secrets of 1,000 years to those who underestimated humanity. The galaxy's perception of humans was shifting. From fools and relics, they were becoming something more, something to watch carefully. And Captain Kane knew that the real challenges were only just beginning. The mockery had ended. Suspicion had begun. The port of Sci-Fi Prime had quieted after the demonstration race. Whispers of disbelief and curiosity replaced laughter. Aliens moved cautiously now, unsure what to make of the humans' ancient ship. Captain Elias Kane and his crew returned to their small quarters aboard the vessel. Arden's sensors quietly scanned the port, noting subtle changes in alien behavior. "Captain," Arden said, "the aliens' confidence is declining. Their perception of us is shifting from ridicule to caution." Elias nodded, leaning back in his chair. "That is exactly where we want them. Let them question us, let them doubt. It makes them careless." But no one had expected the next challenge to come so soon. A sudden alarm blared through the port. Red lights flashed across every platform and an urgent announcement echoed in multiple languages. "Warning! Unidentified warship detected. Threat level, extreme. All civilian vessels evacuate immediately." The humans looked at each other. Outside the observation windows, a massive black warship emerged from hyperspace. Its jagged hull glimmered with dark energy, weapons already powering up. Aliens scrambled to organize defensive formations, but panic rippled through their ranks. Many ships were smaller civilian crafts, ill-prepared for battle. "This is it," Elias said calmly. "They need us more than they realize." Lyra Vance's hands flew over the console, checking systems. "Arden, full scan of enemy vessel. Identify weaknesses." "Enemy shields are active," Arden responded. "Weapon arrays are conventional but heavily reinforced. Estimated offensive capability exceeds combined alien patrols present in the port." "Then it's a good thing we have 1,000 years of history on our side," Elias murmured. The aliens were frozen in panic. Their fleets had no coordinated command, their ships scattered, and the human vessel, small and seemingly fragile, floated steadily toward the incoming threat. "Captain Kane, are you insane?" one young crew member asked, her voice tense. "We can't fight that alone," Elias shook his head. "We are not alone. Arden, initiate adaptive defense protocols. Let's show them what humans are capable of." The ship's ancient hull began to hum with quiet energy. Lines along the metal glowed faintly, symbols etched centuries ago lighting up in rhythm with Arden's calculations. The crew felt the ship's responsiveness, almost like it was aware of the danger and ready to act. The warship unleashed a barrage of energy bolts, aiming to destroy the human vessel instantly. Other alien ships dodged frantically, some already taking heavy damage. The humans, however, stayed calm. With a subtle pulse from its hidden engines, the ship moved with impossible speed, weaving through the energy blasts effortlessly. Viola, observing from a safe distance, gasped. "No, it shouldn't be possible," she whispered. "The humans, they're controlling it like it's alive." "Shields activated," Arden reported. "Energy absorption at maximum. Structural integrity remains uncompromised." Captain Kane's hands flew over the controls, though he barely needed to touch them. Every movement, every decision, was amplified by the ship itself. They launched small countermeasures, missiles and energy pulses, but the ship's primary strength was its ability to anticipate, adapt, and exploit weaknesses. The alien ships around them began to falter. Their fancy technology, once a symbol of superiority, could not respond fast enough to the warship's unpredictable attacks. Yet the human vessel moved strategically, protecting both itself and nearby civilian ships, using the ancient hull's adaptive energy fields to create temporary shields. "This is insane," a Krylox officer shouted. It's not just a ship, it's controlling itself." Viola's eyes widened as she recorded every detail. "It's ancient human engineering and it's still perfect. This ship, it's alive in a way our science cannot explain." The warship changed tactics, attempting to flank the human vessel. Its enormous weapons discharged in a coordinated strike, a move that would destroy any ordinary ship instantly. But the humans were ready. Captain Kane activated the ship's long-hidden systems, ones that had been dormant for centuries. Energy flowed through circuits hidden within the hull, shields flared, and the ship's shape shifted subtly, deflecting the brunt of the attack. Arden calculated new trajectories in milliseconds, adjusting every thruster, every shield node, and every energy output to maximum efficiency. The enemy fire struck harmlessly, glancing off the adaptive shields. Small bursts of counter-energy sent the warship staggering, its sensors confused. For the first time, the enemy ship experienced real resistance. "They underestimated humans," Viola whispered to herself, her eyes wide. "No one has ever fought like this." The human ship moved closer to the enemy, but not recklessly. Each movement was deliberate, precise. It was a dance of centuries-old engineering and human ingenuity, a combination no alien fleet had ever faced. Arden's voice was calm, almost proud. "Captain, the enemy's offensive systems are destabilized. Recommended action: target the propulsion array with concentrated energy bursts." Elias nodded. "Do it." The ship's hidden weapons, ancient yet sophisticated, activated. They fired in perfect synchrony, striking the enemy ship's engines and causing massive disruptions. The warship lurched uncontrollably, its shields flickering, and several weapon systems went offline. The aliens watching trembled in awe. "Impossible," one muttered. "How can humans in that ancient ship do this?" The human vessel continued to protect the port. Civilian ships evacuated under its shield, alien patrols began to regain confidence, and yet the humans were always one step ahead. The warship tried to recalibrate, but every move was predicted, every attack countered. Viola floated closer, her instruments buzzing with energy readings she could not explain. The hull symbols their ancient protocols. They're adjusting the ship in real time. Human ingenuity and 1,000 years of refinement. The humans moved with unmatched strategy. Captain Kane coordinated their efforts with subtle gestures, the ship almost reading his thoughts. In a single sequence of actions, the human vessel neutralized the warship's weapons, forced it into a temporary retreat, and created a safe corridor for every fleeing ship. The alien fleets, once mocking and arrogant, now looked at humanity with a mix of awe, fear, and respect. They had never seen technology like this, nor had they seen humans exhibit such calm, disciplined brilliance in battle. After the warship withdrew, damaged but not destroyed, the port was safe. Civilians and alien ships alike cheered, though many could hardly believe what they had witnessed. Captain Kane deactivated the ship's ancient systems, allowing it to return to its modest appearance. The hum faded, the glowing symbols dimmed, and the vessel looked as ordinary as it had before the battle. "Captain, we did it," Lyra said softly. "We saved them all." Elias nodded, but his expression was calm, almost unreadable. "Yes, and they will remember." Humanity is not to be underestimated. This ship, our crew, our discipline, it's the legacy of centuries. The galaxy thought we were weak. Now they know otherwise. Viola approached cautiously, all written across her face. "Captain Kane, I need to study this ship. I need to understand how humans built it and how it's still so effective after 1,000 years." Elias smiled faintly. "Curiosity is a good trait, Viola, but some things are meant to be experienced before they are understood." The alien fleets began sending formal messages, invitations to meet, requests for treaties, and offers of cooperation. Humanity, once ridiculed and dismissed, now commanded respect across Sci-Fi Prime. Arden pulsed softly, almost like a heartbeat. Captain, the humans have demonstrated both courage and superiority. The galaxy's perception is shifting. They now see humanity as a force, not a curiosity. Good, Elias said quietly. That is only the beginning. We will continue to survive, to adapt, and to show the galaxy that humanity is capable of greatness beyond imagination. The port of Sci-Fi Prime, which had once mocked the humans, now buzzed with whispers of awe. The centuries-old ship, battered and humble in appearance, had become a symbol of resilience, intelligence, and the unyielding spirit of humanity. The mockery had ended. Suspicion had become respect. And soon, the galaxy would learn that humanity's hidden power was far greater than anyone had imagined. Captain Kane looked out at the stars, knowing that the battles ahead would test them further. But he also knew that with patience, intelligence, and unity, humanity would always rise. The legacy of the 1,000-year-old ship was no longer a secret. It was a testament to what humans could achieve, even when the universe had counted them out. And somewhere deep within the vessel, the ancient systems pulsed with quiet pride, ready for whatever challenge came next. The port of Sci-Fi Prime buzzed with a new energy. The air, once filled with laughter and ridicule at the sight of a small, battered human ship, now carried whispers of awe. Aliens of all shapes and sizes floated above the docking platforms, murmuring about the humans who had just faced the warship and lived. Captain Elias Kane stood at the helm of his ship, watching the crowd. He was calm as always, but there was a faint sparkle of pride in his eyes. His crew moved efficiently, checking systems and ensuring that the ship remained ready. But there was no sense of urgency. They had proven themselves. "Captain," Lyra Vance said quietly, "I can't believe it. They're actually respecting us. Some are even asking for alliances." Elias nodded slowly. "Respect is earned, Lyra. And sometimes it comes after they realize how wrong they were to doubt us." The alien scientist, Viola, floated closer. She had been watching, fascinated from the moment the humans' ship had dodged the warship's attacks. Her instruments still scanned the hull, now for study rather than threat. "Captain Kane," she said softly, almost in awe, "your ship, it's incredible. I've never seen technology like this survive 1,000 years, let alone operate so perfectly. Humanity, you are extraordinary." Elias allowed himself a faint smile. "Thank you, Viola, but it's not just the ship. It's the crew, our discipline, our decisions. Humans endure, we adapt. That is our true power." Viola nodded, taking notes silently. She knew that words alone could not capture what she had witnessed. This ship was not merely a vessel. It was a living testament to humanity's ingenuity, resilience, and courage. Across the port, alien leaders began sending formal requests to meet with the human delegation. Some offered treaties, others offered to share advanced technology. All of them spoke with a new tone, a mixture of respect and caution. A Krylox officer approached Captain Kane, his multiple arms trembling slightly. "Humans, I must apologize. We mocked you, we underestimated you. But what you have demonstrated, it is extraordinary. Will you accept our alliance?" Elias considered the offer carefully. "We will not form alliances lightly," he said, his voice steady. "But humanity is willing to cooperate with those who respect us and the lives of others." "That is our condition," the officer bowed. "Understood." Meanwhile, Viola continued her examination of the ship. "There are hidden systems here I cannot fully understand," she said. "The hull symbols, the adaptive shields, even your weapons, they function beyond anything we know. Your people are remarkable." Arden, the ship's AI, spoke softly in response. "Captain, the aliens' perception is now accurate. Humans are capable of technology and strategy far exceeding initial appearances." Their respect is earned, and further interactions will cement humanity's status. Captain Kane nodded. Good. Let them learn. Let the galaxy understand that humans are not to be underestimated. While negotiations and discussions began, the human crew quietly repaired minor damage to the ship from the battle. Though it was 1,000 years old, it remained remarkably durable. The hull's ancient metal absorbed impacts and self-repaired minor scratches, a testament to the foresight of humans who had built it centuries ago. As the day passed, stories of the battle spread quickly. Hollow recordings of the human ship's maneuvers were shared across communication channels. Alien races who had once laughed at humanity now whispered of their courage, intelligence, and unexpected power. Humans, a Vraxian soldier muttered to his companion. We thought them weak, but they faced the warship alone and survived, and their ship it's ancient yet unbeatable. Yes, the companion replied. They are not like any species we have known. We must respect them. Back aboard their ship, Captain Kane looked out at the stars. This is just the beginning, he said quietly. The galaxy has seen a fraction of what humans are capable of. Soon, we will show them even more. But for now, we let this victory speak for itself. Lyra leaned against the console, smiling. I never thought a 1,000-year-old ship could do all that. Elias chuckled softly. Age is not weakness. Humanity survives because we learn, adapt, and endure. That ship is a reminder of our legacy and a promise of what we can achieve. As night fell over Scifi Prime, lights from the port shimmered across the surface like stars. Aliens continued to gather around the human ship, some in awe, some in careful study, all whispering of the humans who had changed the balance of respect in the galaxy. Viola floated closer to Elias. Captain Kane, your people, your ship, it will become a legend. The galaxy will remember this day. I want to study it, learn from it, but I also want to witness humanity's future accomplishments. You are only beginning to show what you can do. Elias nodded. Thank you, Viola. Some things must be experienced to be understood. Humanity has endured for millennia. This ship, our crew, we are proof that survival and ingenuity cannot be measured by appearances alone. The port slowly quieted, the immediate threat gone, the warship defeated and retreating. Yet the humans remained vigilant. Captain Kane knew that this was not the end. Challenges would come again. But he also knew that humanity's reputation had shifted forever. The galaxy could no longer mock them. They had been seen, respected, and feared in a new way. In the weeks that followed, humans began to interact with alien leaders, sharing knowledge, exchanging ideas, and sometimes declining offers that did not align with their principles. They became known not just for survival, but for wisdom, courage, and strategic brilliance. The 1,000-year-old ship remained central to their identity. It was a symbol of the past, yes, but also a promise of the future. Young humans looked upon it with pride, understanding that their ancestors had built something lasting, resilient, and extraordinary. One evening, Captain Kane stood on the observation deck, looking at distant stars. Arden's soft hum pulsed beneath his feet. Captain, the AI said, humanity has now achieved recognition across multiple systems. The perception of weakness has been replaced with respect. Analysis suggests this will continue to grow. Elias smiled faintly. Good. Let the galaxy watch. Let them learn that humanity does not bow, does not surrender, and does not falter. This is only the beginning of our story. Lyra joined him, her eyes reflecting the distant starlight. It feels incredible to know we've changed the way they see us. Elias nodded. It is incredible. But remember, Lyra, the true strength of humanity is not just in what we build or fight with. It is in our courage, our intelligence, and our will to endure. The ship is a symbol, but the people are the real power. Viola, still aboard the port for her research, floated nearby. I want to study everything, she said softly. But I also see now, humans are more than their technology. You are history, legacy, and potential all at once. Elias chuckled. Then learn well, Viola. Humanity will continue to endure, continue to rise, and continue to surprise the galaxy. Our story is far from over. As the stars twinkled in the night sky, the humans aboard their ancient ship prepared for the journeys to come. The galaxy had witnessed their courage, their intelligence, and the unmatched adaptability of a thousand-year-old vessel. Aliens who had once mocked them now spoke their name with respect. Humanity had survived ridicule, faced a deadly threat, and emerged victorious, not just in battle but in the hearts and minds of the galaxy. And deep within the ship, the ancient systems pulsed quietly, symbols glowing faintly, ready to assist, to adapt, and to endure for centuries more. It was more than a machine. It was a testament to what humans could achieve. Captain Kane placed his hand on the console, feeling the hum of the ship beneath him. "The galaxy has learned a lesson," he said quietly. "Never underestimate humanity. And never forget, the true strength of our species is our will to survive, to adapt, and to rise above every challenge." The port of Scifi Prime was no longer a place of mockery. It had become a place of respect, admiration, and the beginning of humanity's legend among the stars. The 1,000-year-old ship, battered yet unbroken, had proven its worth. Humanity, too, had proven theirs. And somewhere in the quiet hum of the engines and the glowing symbols, the ship waited for the next adventure, ready to carry its crew through centuries of challenges, discoveries, and triumphs. The galaxy had learned to respect humans. And humans, in turn, were only beginning to show what they were truly capable of.